Hello my Wolfpack and welcome to the RBL Week 18 builder. So this week we are versing Ben and, my god, is it scary? Ben is the coach of the SnailBlazers. I can't remember what the first part of it is, but obviously Ben is, well not obviously, but Ben is very capable basically. He has gone undefeated in this league. Undefeated in this season of the league, and he was also the winner of Season 1, so very, very good player, I'm assuming. We are currently looking at 5 wins and 2 losses, which is actually a really good position to be in. We definitely have a really good shot at playoffs, but we are currently on a 2 losing streak. We lost 2. But we did obviously pick up the win against Raikous, which was week 4, played like after week 7. But you know, we did pick up that win, even though it was quite tight. It definitely was a close match. But against Ben, he has got the not typical, but he's got the Colossal Dusclops core, which is a really fantastic core, which I'm very much expecting to see in at least one of our matches. Dragapult, which obviously is a very scary Pokemon in general. I was going to draft Dragapult, but literally Ben was the one before me and he drafted it, so I was like, okay, I guess I'm not going to do that. But Conkeldurr is also very scary. Cobraja can be very scary, especially like obviously like Conk and Cobraja really go into a Trick Room team quite well. Vaporeon is kind of just an annoying mon to deal with. Shiftry is, you know, not too much of a threat against me this week. The biggest thing we've got kind of is Hippowdon that you can hit, but other than that, it's not really, I suppose like Dracovish kind of, but it's not really hitting me too hard this week, so I'm not too worried. Jazeel, again, I'm not really too worried. Only Hippowdon can get hit by that really. Dusclops, which obviously is going to be a support Dusclops, like I think that's 95% of the time. I'm very much expecting a Trick Room, definitely expecting a Trick Room here. Sylveon is actually quite scary for my team. I've got 3 mons that are weak to it. I probably should have ran a Roselia Berry on someone, but I did not. I am running the weakness policy on Dracozolt though, so who knows, we could live that. But yeah, Sylveon is very scary. Obviously that's quite slow as well, so that could do well in the Trick Room. And then Hitmonlee. Now Hitmonlee is obviously fast, it has Unburden access, so no terrain capabilities on this team, so you know, Hitmonlee may not, at least as far as I can see, there's not really any like immediate terrain obviousness. So Hitmonlee kind of unlikely to be holding anything like terrain related, so like a seed, but it could definitely be holding something like Normal Gem Fake Out. That's obviously a really scary set because that Unburden boost would make it really fast. But at the same time, I've got Tailwind on my team this week, and I've also got Trick Room in case Ben does decide to bring a faster team. Not that I'm expecting him to bring a faster team because, you know, most of his mons are pretty slow. Could definitely run the Dragapult and Hitmonlee, and then have the Colossal Dusclops there as well, and then just 2 other Philemons like Conk I can imagine coming, because Conk is just a very scary mon in general. Sylveon I think definitely comes because I have still got quite a big fairy weakness. Realistically, because I have picked up Dracovish and I picked up Haunter last week, so I traded Dracovish, I traded away Zero Aura, and I dropped Roselia for Haunter. Now Haunter would have also been a pretty good mon in this matchup if I'm honest, but I couldn't really fit it on the team. I feel like this is the 6 best mons I have to kind of deal with this team. But we've got Mandibuzz, Tailwind to double our speed, which is going to be helpful if it's obviously a fast variation of team. I've made sure that we can outspeed certain Pokemon. We've got Fake Tears, which allows us to lower the special defense of the opposing Pokemon. That's going to be really helpful for Porygon 2 and Alcremie, as well as the Mandibuzz as well. We've got Taunt. Now Taunt is specifically here to stop the Dusclops from setting up a Trick Room. Now I think my first league will potentially be Mandibuzz with Dracovish, and I will definitely be taunting the Dusclops if that comes out. If the Dusclops does not come out, then I've kind of got another plan which will probably involve Tailwind. Air Slash just for damage because it hits like most of the team neutrally, and it hits like Shiftry super effectively, it hits the Hitmonlee and the Conk super effectively, and yeah, it just hits the other mons kind of neutral. The only thing that's really concerning is like a Colossal. If the Colossal gets a max Volcave on me before I can set up a Tailwind or anything, then that is going to be a problem for me. But realistically, Mandibuzz is going to be naturally faster. It's based 80 speed, so naturally it's going to be faster. And obviously, if I set up Trick Room, at that point I probably don't need Mandibuzz. So I'm not too concerned about the Colossal, but it is still something in the back of my mind that I do need to keep an eye on. Moving on to our second one, we've got Porygon 2. Now, Porygon 2 has been pulling and putting through some work. Running Shadow Ball and Psychic this week. Shadow Ball and Psychic just seems to do the best coverage. Shadow Ball has been Dragapult, and also the Dusclops super effective damage. We've got the Psychic, which hits the Conkeldurr, it hits the Hitmonlee for super effective damage. The only thing that obviously is really a concern here is Shiftry, because it kind of flat walls at that point, but everything's hit like neutrally by the Shadow Ball and Psychic, except for the Shiftry. So that is not too bad. I've got download to get the +1 in my special attacks. I think that's definitely going to be handy. I've got a high amount of defense here because Hitmonlee and Conkeldurr, they both get access to close combat, so it's going to hit really hard if that does happen. And yeah, Trick Room. Now, Trick Room is specific, well, kind of specifically on here. There's two reasons it's on here. In case he brings a fast variation team, I've got Trick Room to allow myself to go first. If he brings the Dusclops in, so if I bring Colossal, brings Colossal and Dusclops, anticipating the typical Colossal destruction, I will bring in the Porygon 2. What I will do is I will Vicious Rend into the Colossal, and I will, what other thing will I do? I will Trick Room, so basically that kind of covers me in those coverage. So Vicious Rend takes out the Colossal full stop. There's no way that the Colossal can live unless it is like a Pasho Berry set, which then it's far less scary. If he Dynamaxes, or if he protects with the Colossal and tries to set up a Trick Room, I then return the dimension to normal using Trick Room as well. So I am basically stuck in the same position we were in turn 1, and the Colossal is definitely going to take damage the second turn. And after that point, I'm not sure, like, I kind of have to decide whether I go for the Trick Room with Porygon 2 for a second time, or if I go for damage on the Dusclops to just try and get it to take some damage. Now, that's obviously something that I have to consider kind of as I go, but by the first match I should definitely know what the Colossal's item is, which is going to be very helpful in being able to kind of work around that. So yeah, I've gone for defensive investment, as I said, because of physical mons, and there's lots of scary physical mons. I expect Dragapult, if it's come, well, it's probably coming, probably going to be special. The Colossal probably is going to be special as well, honestly, but I could definitely see like a Max Knuckle set just specifically for Porygon 2 as well, so that's kind of a thought that I've got in my mind. Dracovish, not going for Sand Rush, and I think me bringing Hippowdon with Dracozolt as well, potentially Ben will be thinking, oh, he's gone hard Sand Rush, he's gone hard Sand Team, and I have not. I've gone for Strong Draw Life Orb. Now, I did consider running Scary Face on Mandibuzz, because that would allow for me to go minimum speed on Dracovish, so it still outspeeds the Colossal and also the Dusclops, but with a Scary Face, it actually becomes slower than the Colossal and the Dracovish, not the Dracovish, the Dusclops, so I am then going to have basically a turn where I'm first, and then another turn where I'm first. So that was kind of my thought process on there, but then I was a bit like, you know, like Taunt probably works better for me in other scenarios as well. So you've got things like the Dusclops can't do some other stuff. You have got things like the Dragapult can't set up Dragon Dancers or anything. You have got, trying to think what else would probably try and set up. Shiftry might try and do some setup shenanigans. Sylveon Calm Minding is obviously an opportunity, something that could happen. So kind of the Taunt there just worked a little bit better than the Scary Face, and the Scary Face was kind of too situational for me to kind of really go with it. But yeah, we've got Life Orb and Strong Jaw here. This basically does more than enough to kill the Colossal, as I said, unless it's a Pasho Berry. And we've got Vicious Rend, which obviously, if I'm faster, it just does so much damage. There's not many mons on the team that resist water. Well, I mean, they're 3 mons. Obviously, we've got Vaporeon with the water absorb, so we do need to be considerate of that. But at the same time, Vaporeon cannot completely destroy Dracovish either. We've got Crunch, which hits the things like the Dragapult for super effective damage and the Dusclops for super effective damage, and neutral damage on the vast majority of the team. And then Iron Head just as a powerful steel type attack. If I need to Dynamax for any reason to get my defenses up, then I can possibly do that as well. Not that I'm planning on Dynamaxing Dracovish, but it's obviously an option if I need to. And then we've got Protect, just because I think I'm going to need to protect at certain times, basically. I've gone for max HP, max attack, just because that's kind of how it worked. Yeah, under a Tailwind I should outspeed the Dragapult, so that should be pretty good. Next up, we've got Hippowdon. Now, Hippowdon is obviously going to be a terrain, not a terrain, it's going to be a sand setter, and it's physically defensive. I've gone mostly physical defensive, but I've given it a little bit of attack just to give it a little bit more power. And I think Hippowdon it's playing 2 roles here, in a way. So I've got Electric Seed on here in case the electric terrain gets set up by myself. I'm not expecting it to get set up by Ben, but if I go for a Dynamax Dracozolt, I can go for get the Electric Seed to pop, and I can get a +1 in my defense, which will allow my Body Press to do more damage. And obviously, the Colossal doesn't really want a Body Press. I would argue that most of the team does not want to take a Body Press from a +1 defense Hippowdon. I mean, like, +1 defense, that gives me like 270 defense, which honestly is just absolutely huge. And obviously, like, at that point, it's very difficult to break through on the physical side of things. So Vaporeon is still definitely a massive threat, but a lot of the other mons, like the Hitmonlee and the Conkeldurr, are definitely less threatening with that Electric Seed on. But I can also Dynamax and go for the Max Knuckles through the Body Press to allow me to increase up my attack stat by 1 stage, maybe 2 stages if I can live multiple turns, and that would be really, really helpful to obviously support any Pokemon that I've got next to me. So I've got the Dracovish or the Dracozolt next to me. We've got Earthquake to increase up our special defense if we need to through Max Quake. Now obviously that's going to be really helpful against Colossal and possibly Dragapult and even Sylveon if I am worried about Dracovish and Dracozolt. So that's definitely an option that I can run there. Crunch is just for coverage as well. I think with those 3 moves I do hit the majority of the team really, really nicely. And as I said, like, mostly defense investment, but I've also got a little bit of attack there for the Earthquake and Crunch just to do a little bit more power. Sandstream obviously setting up the sand because, you know, sand team. Moving on to Dracozolt. Dracozolt is a phenomenal mon. I am really loving using it. I'm hoping the weakness policy does get propped this week. I'm definitely going to, as I said, I think Dracozolt Dynamaxing is going to be a big potential this week. Obviously, the Bulk Beak then reduces in its output damage, but I can then have more comfortably the weakness policy activate, and I can set up the Max Light, or I can use the Max Light to set up the Electric Terrain, which is going to allow for the Hippowdon to get a +1 defense, which will be really good support for it. We've got Dragon Claw, which just hits things like the Dragapult for super effective damage, and also no, it doesn't hit anything else for super effective damage, but it just hits Dragapult, and also hits the majority of mons for neutral damage. And then Earthquake is an option just to hit the majority of the team. Obviously, I've got Earthquake on 2 mons here. Everything's running Protect except for Mandibuzz. Couldn't fit Protect onto Mandibuzz, but then I thought if I'm running Earthquake as my only move that will hit my own teammate, then that's not the worst case scenario. But yeah, I think the coverage here on Dracozolt just hits the majority of the team really well. I've got Sand Rush. I made sure that I've got enough EVs to outspeed Dragapult there as well. I potentially don't outspeed the Dragapult with Dracovish, now that I think about it. Yeah, Dracovish I don't think outspeeds. Annoyingly, I probably should have done that investment, but that's fine. I can deal with that. I can fake it out, I suppose, as well. Yeah, Protect on here also, just for any shenanigans that might happen. I'm not going to go for Earthquake with Hippowdon, especially if I've got like Max Knuckles up, but obviously I've got the opportunity to go for Max Knuckle, get a +1 in Dracozolt in its attack stat, and then it can Bolt Beak basically anything on this, and I think a +1 the Bolt Beak, if it's faster, will just decimate everything. Obviously, Dracozolt, if I run Dracozolt without the sand, Porygon 2 can set up a Trick Room really well, and it obviously depends on what Ben goes for. There's a lot of basically, with Ben, I think what's going to happen is either one of us is going to win, and it's going to be based on the team that we bring to counter the other's team. And I know so it's going to depend on which one of us, or does one of us bring Trick Room, and does one of us bring a fast team, and does one of us get the Trick Room off? Or does one of us bring a fast team, and the other one bring a fast team as well, and then we're doing that, or do we both bring the Trick Room, and whoever's got the best Trick Room opportunities wins. So it's going to be definitely a massive speed match as far as I can tell. It's going to be we have to predict what each other are going for. And my first one prediction is definitely going for the Dusclops Colossal. I think that's a really it's a really obvious lead, but at the same time, if I go for the Mandibuzz and Dracovish lead, that could definitely be a really, really good opportunity for me. But I could also definitely go for the Porygon 2 Dracovish lead. I think that's definitely a really safe play on turn 1, just because I can allow myself to protect on Dracovish and have Porygon 2 use Trick Room in that scenario and take out probably the Dragapult turn 2. So that's kind of my thought processes as it comes through there. The final one we have is a more supportive mon, but at the same time, a mon that definitely can put in a lot of work this week. Alcremie is really fantastic. I've run it especially defensively. I'm not sure if I should have run it with a little bit more investment in its offensive outputs, but I decided not to do that. So I've got Focus Sash on here because I think the Copperajah is just very scary, and Focus Sash could be really handy. Also, there is the opportunity to just get a Focus Sash Decorate off, which would be really handy for my team. Obviously, Dracovish would really appreciate it, Dracozolt would really appreciate it, Hippowdon would appreciate it, Porygon 2 would appreciate it, Mandibuzz not so much, but still a +2 Mandibuzz is possibly going to put some pressure on things. I've got Dazzling Gleam, which hits really hard on this team. So it hits Dragapult, hits Conkeldurr, and hits Hitmonlee for super effective damage, and that's just really, really nice. Hits the Shiftry as well for super effective damage. I have got Mystical Fire here, and that's because it lowers the special attack of the opposing Pokemon by 1. Now, if I've got the Colossal, that is definitely special. Obviously, Mystical Fire on that. I do need to double check that it doesn't get Flash Fire. If it does, then that becomes a little bit more awkward, but I can still do it to the Dragapult if it's special. Vaporeon lowering its special attack by 1 could be helpful. Sylveon even lowering its special attack could be huge for me. So I think Mystical Fire is definitely a really good option there. And then Protect, just because Protect can really help me out in some cases. As I said, especially defensive to live hits from special attackers, and that Mystical Fire allows me to be able to lower that down. What do I think is going to come? Definitely Colossal and Dusclops. I think they are 100% coming as a duo. I definitely think Dragapult and Hitmonlee could be coming. Sylveon, I think 100% has to come. It's just too good against my team. And that could really work in a Trick Room scenario as well, which is why I like the idea of leading with something that can deal with the Trick Room. Either the Mandibuzz or the Porygon. I think that's going to be a massive lead for me. I'm not quite sure. Game 1, I think Porygon 2 probably has to lead with probably Dracovish, obviously depending on what is there. If we see the Vaporeon and the Drizzile, obviously Dracovish immediately becomes less viable, and Dracozolt becomes better. So, it's kind of depending, but I think the Porygon 2 with something is going to be pretty huge in this game. I think that's definitely going to be capable of doing so much in this. But yeah, I'm going to finish this off here, so I hope you enjoyed this. If you have, please do like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Anyways, I'm out of here. So have a good one, and I'll see you soon.